Well, good morning, everybody. Mark Finan here in the Home Weather Office on this Wednesday morning. It's now the 7th day of August 2024. This is the morning briefing. A little bit late this morning because I've been working on getting some information on this new fire that it broke out during the overnight hours in Dorado County. So we'll get to the park fire, which continues to burn, and today is going to be a pretty critical day for that fire, as well as this new fire called the Crozier Fire burning in Dorado County. And I'll also get to the weather because we are going to see a potential pattern change not too far away. So there's a lot of things to get through today, but I'm going to start with fire and eventually I will get to weather. So if you're not interested in the fire information, hang in. I will get to the weather information as well because it does look as though we could see a potentially big change in this pattern. So let's get right to it. Like I said, there is a lot to get through this morning. And obviously here you can see the park fire. Very active during the night last night. I'll show you a couple of images on that and where it's going. And then, yeah, this is the new fire. Obviously not as big, but it just started overnight. And the latest information from Watch Duty says that it's 67 acres. And again, that's as I'm recording this at about 8:45 in the morning. But it just started overnight, and this is going to be a fire to be watched throughout the day. So let's start with the park fire, the bigger fire, but I will get to this fire here in just a second. All right, let's see. What did I do with that? Here we go. All right, so this is the latest mapping from late last night. And as we've been talking about on this fire, the northern end and all the western side and then the eastern side along 32, that's not the critical part of that fire. What is critical and why I think today is going to be a critical day is this area. Now you notice that just updated. That's interesting that just updated because I was going to tell you about that. So you see this line right here. This is where they had tried, right along this ridge top, they had tried to hold this here. And you can see this area here, that's also a control burn on a ridge top that they were trying to box that in, and they'll probably will. The Mill Creek Resort is right down in here. But what's interesting is that this area just blew up overnight. Now here is the town of Mineral. Down in here, there is a meadow that will likely help keep the fire away, but that's very, very close to Mineral. And there's a mountain right here called Morgan Summit, right here. And this is, let me see if I can call this up. So this is the camera on Morgan Summit. Let me call that up full. And I've been watching this camera, and let's do the last half hour on this. And so as you can see, if you look through the smoke here, every now and then you'll see areas of flame coming up. Now, I'm not sure if they fired the road. There's some fire over here. So this this Morgan Summit is likely going to get burned over during the course of the day today. The mapping perimeters may not be exact, but there is fire here. There's fire along 36, and if it's cross 36 here, yeah, that's not good news. Now, the only good news here is that once you get just to the other side of 36, all of this area was burned in the Dixie fire. So there's not much fuel out here. And so here's Lake Almanor, for instance. And so yeah, the Dixie fire burned all of this area. So there's not going to be much fuel. But that's why I think today is going to be a critical day because as you can see, the fire continues to just kind of go up that drainage, crossing 36, but eventually it's going to run out of fuel unless it goes due north. But the winds today will keep it kind of going along these drainages here along 36. But I think their goal for today is to try to keep it out of the Mill Creek Resort, which is right here, and keep it out of Mineral as well. So that's what's going on with the park fire. 420,000 acres, I think. I don't think that included this last little blow up. So that number will likely be going up again during the course of the day today. Now, the new fire has not been mapped. Well, actually, since that map just updated, I wonder if we have one on this. Nope, there's no mapping on the El Dorado County fire yet. So for that, I'm going to go to Cal Topo. I talked about this the other day. It's CALTOPO. And while this isn't a fire perimeter, this is heat as indicated from the satellite. So where is this fire? Placerville is down here. Pollock Pines is up here. Georgetown is over in here. So it's burning up toward Wentworth Springs Road, or in that vicinity, if you will. Now, there are a lot of drainages in here where this fire is likely going to go during the course of the day today. Let's take a look at the way this one looks from the south. Let's look at the last 30 minutes on this. And as you can see, it's really starting to cook. Multiple locations. Relatively sparsely populated. So it's burning away from Placerville. It is not going to be... So for those of you along Highway 50, from Pollock Pines and Camino, Placerville, Camino, Pollock Pines, this isn't in your area. This is on the other side of the river, up toward Mosquito and Swansboro, and moving farther to the north. And again, it'll likely get into this drainage today. It certainly could. You see wind arrows here. They're from the south. When you actually get down on the ground, the winds will actually align more with the drainage, especially this afternoon. So this fire, in my very amateur opinion, does have the possibility of getting down in here today, and then maybe making more progress out in that direction. I also mentioned Georgetown, which is over here. Georgetown, this should be staying off to your east. But if you do get an evacuation order, I know there are evacuation orders that have been issued. Pay attention to those. Don't pay attention to me when it comes to evacuation orders, because we'll see how this fire goes throughout the day today. But that just started during the overnight. Let's go back to the satellite, and yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on this. Now, eventually, this is burning just to the west of the scar that is still left. And actually, this area right here, that's the scar from the King fire that many of you may remember that blew up near Pollock Pines. The Mosquito fire is well up to the north, although there was another fire in this area called the Mosquito fire back in 2011, so don't be confused by that. Actually, let me go back to Cal Topo, and I can turn on fire history. And when you turn on fire history, if you see here, there is a fire history here of 2011, the Mosquito fire, but that's not our Mosquito fire from a couple of years ago. And then you see the 2014 King fire here. So just to the east of this, there is a history of fire, but as you can see in this area, we don't have a recent history of fire, and that's why I wouldn't be surprised if it gets into this drainage here and then just follows the prevailing winds going up in that direction. So a couple of things to keep an eye on in terms of fires today, and especially for those of you in El Dorado County. I know those of you in Placerville and Pollock Pines and Georgetown, you're seeing that column of smoke this morning, and that's the latest I've got for you on that fire. So we'll have to watch that one throughout the day. And again, I think today's going to be a critical day for the park fire. All right, that's fire coverage. Let's get to weather coverage. Let me go back to this and let's talk a little bit about heat. So we just had the month of July go by, and these are numbers for downtown Sacramento. And yeah, we've gotten off to a hot start in the month of August. 21 days in the month of July, and now we've added another 5 days so far in the month of August. We managed to only hit 98 the other day, but 104 yesterday. And today, tomorrow, probably not much change in that. This overall weather pattern still looks as though it's pretty hot for now. So this is the 6Z run of the GFS, and you still see this big ridge in here. kind of the shoulder of the ridge. The ridge is centered here in the four corners, and that continues to just hold over the next couple of days. Weather systems try to come off the Pacific. They go off to the north. This prevailing south and southwest wind, or west and southwest wind, is going to continue hot and dry and favorable winds for fire activity on both the Park Fire as well as this new fire, the Crozier Fire. So what day are we up to on the model here? This is Thursday around midday, so tomorrow around midday. So another hot day on Thursday. Temperatures over 100 degrees, and we'll likely do that again during the day Friday. Now we get into the weekend, the high begins to shift a little bit. You see the high kind of looking a little bit different. We have this high out here. We may even entrain a little bit of moisture into that. We may get some cloud cover from time to time. Now we're getting into Saturday. Saturday will still be plenty warm, but we might not be over 100. And then watch what happens as we get into next week. Notice where the ridge axis is now. It's now kind of on the front range of the Rockies, and in the western states, from Washington all the way down through central California, we have more of a troughing pattern, and that troughing pattern continues. If this model is right, look where the high is now. Instead of being here over the four corners, it's over Texas. And let's see, what day are we up to now? This is next Wednesday, so next Tuesday, Wednesday. And then instead of just being a one-off, again, if this model is correct, we may be into an extended period of temperatures not hitting 100 degrees. This is, keep your fingers crossed, because if this pattern prevails, and now we're getting well out into fantasy land, but look at this deep trough here. This is 2 weeks out. This would be a very comfortable pattern for mid-August, mid to late August by that point. So keep your fingers crossed. We may be seeing a pattern change coming. It won't happen right away. Today it's hot. Thursday, Friday are hot. The weekend a little bit less hot. But that pattern change for next week could be good for all of us that would like a break from the heat and maybe get some cooler days. Maybe not run the AC all day, that sort of thing. So again, keep your fingers crossed that that model that I showed you holds, and that maybe, just maybe, once we get past Friday or Saturday with our daytime highs at or above 100, maybe we'll get a bit of a break in that, which is what we usually do during most summer times. But this one has been unusual. Now we're up to, I think, 35 days with temperatures over 100 degrees. The average is around 23, so we're way above average. Usually what we see is we see heat spells, and then we'll go extended periods with temperatures in the 90s or maybe even some upper 80s. We haven't seen that in about 5-6 weeks. I do think we may see that if this model is correct. A pattern, a more typical summer pattern, perhaps starting next week. So again, keep your fingers crossed. So a lot to keep track of today. 2 fires, one of them new, as well as a possible pattern change coming up. That's everything I've got for you this morning. I know it's a lot to keep up with. Make it a great day. I'll talk with you later.